There are places in this world where the dead refuse to rest, where tragedy lingers, whispering through the walls, watching from the shadows. And then there's the Lemp Mansion, a place so cursed, so drenched in sorrow, that those who enter say they feel something unseen, something waiting. A house where an empire crumbled, where an entire family fell, one by one, claimed by the darkness that still lingers. But was it just misfortune, or was something far more sinister at play? Because those who dare step inside say the mansion is alive, feeding on fear, whispering to the living, trapping them in a nightmare they can never escape. Some don't believe, until they hear the footsteps behind them, until they feel the icy touch on their skin. But the question is, if you listen closely, if you really pay attention, will you hear it too? There are places where the past refuses to die, where the echoes of sorrow and madness linger, whispering through the walls. The Lemp Mansion is one such place, a house cursed by tragedy, a home where death itself took residence, and where the spirits of the long-departed still walk its shadowed halls. It began with success, with fortune, with the rise of a brewing empire. The Lemp family was powerful, wealthy, envied. Their brewery produced some of the finest beer in America, making them one of the richest families in St. Louis. But what good is wealth when the darkness has already claimed your soul? What use is fortune when fate has carved out your doom? The tragedy started with a knock on the door. A messenger arrived with devastating news. Frederick Lemp, the young heir, the future of the family, was dead. His father, William Lemp, was never the same again. The once mighty businessman, the man who ruled his empire with an iron will, crumbled into despair. He locked himself inside his mansion, drowning in sorrow, until one fateful morning he entered his office, pulled out a revolver, and ended his own life. The first Lemp to fall, but not the last. Death breeds death. Misery invites more misery. It wasn't long before his widow, overwhelmed by grief, retreated into seclusion, draping the house in black, as if mourning not just for her husband, but for something unseen, something lurking beneath the surface. But even the darkness of sorrow wasn't enough to keep tragedy at bay. It returned again and again, like a cruel joke played by the house itself. William's son, Billy Lemp, took over the business, but the empire was already crumbling. The golden age of the Lemp brewery was fading, and with it, so was Billy's spirit. The weight of his father's fate, of his brother's death, of the shadows that whispered in the corridors, he could no longer bear it. And so, history repeated itself. Another gunshot. Another lifeless body, another victim claimed by the house. And still, it wasn't over. Charles Lemp, another brother, spent his life fighting the ghosts of his past. The mansion, once a place of grandeur, had become a prison of despair. He felt it, the unseen eyes watching, the whispers in the night, the cold touch of something that should not be there. It drove him mad. In a final act of desperation, he took his dog into the basement, pulled out a gun, and silenced both their lives forever. Visitors speak of strange noises, of footsteps in empty corridors, of doors creaking open on their own. They feel the oppressive weight of sorrow that clings to the air, the presence of something unseen but ever watchful. Some have seen figures lurking in the shadows, glimpses of the lost, the forgotten, the tormented. And then there is the attic, a place of secrets, a place of horror. It is said that a child was hidden there, a boy born with deformities, shunned by his own blood, kept away from the world in a cruel attempt to erase his existence. But death does not erase suffering. His spirit lingers, a shadow in the corner of the attic, his soft cries still echoing through the empty space. Those who dare enter speak of the sensation of being watched, of tiny hands brushing against their skin, of a sorrow so deep it chills them to the bone.